Hey yo, I'm gonna make this real short and sweet, if at all possible. I know YouTube don't want us to make short videos, whatever, but we just gonna rock out like this. So yesterday I had the pleasure of attending a celebration of life. I say pleasure because it's amazing to see what somebody that lives such a short time on this earth. It's amazing to see that this child was able to touch so many people. But there was a few lessons and a few things that I got from this, based off of, with fatherhood, and just being a man in general. I'm gonna touch on being a man in general first. So, a light backstory. I'm not diving into the family's business, so I'm gonna respect the family. A child passed away at the age of 5 due to health reasons. So, as far as I'm gonna go with that, there's not much more you need to know. Child is no longer here. The child was loved dearly, and is no longer here. So here's the thing. As a man, one of the things that I had to that I talk about a lot, but this is just further proof that this is serious, that this is real, is you need to be conscious in how you handle the people around you and who you keep around you. And you need to be intentional with the type of people that you have around you, and the type of people that and the type of things that you do, the type of things you say, the actions, all of that stuff is serious business, And the reason I say that is this person, this is a close friend of mine. It was his son, right? And his son, passed. To jump to the point, he is responsible partially. Meeting him, he's responsible partially for where I'm at today. I believe that you meet people for a reason. I haven't spoken with him about this, but this is my opinion on it. I believe you meet people for a reason. And I have a lot of people around me that have put me in certain positions. And the thing that I like to really think about is how I can do the same for other people. And I'm not always able to do that because I feel like I'm so busy grabbing to try to get in position. I'm too busy trying to make something shake. And it's hard to kind of step back and just look and see how blessed you are. But I digress. He's part of the reason I'm right here. I was working a job. He came in as a customer, and he basically let me know, hey, I'm liking I'm liking how you are at this job. I'm a supervisor here. Do you want to maybe put in the app we're hiring? So I said, okay. We communicated over text message, I would assume, and and I started at that new job under this particular person. Like I said, who was a very close friend. We happen to have the same birthday, which is, that's obviously rare, right? So cool, both Aries, you know what I'm saying? So, we get stuff done, and so here you have it. Close friends, we're both busy. We're raising a family, so on and so forth. When you're intentional about the people that you have around you, when you're and not just intentional, very intentional about the people you have around you, and you're very intentional about the things you say and the energy you put out, you can touch so many people, touch so many lives rather, in a positive manner that there's almost words can't really explain it. And that is, I think, the key to life. I talked about in a previous video how life is just about experiences, right? But part of those experiences are how we handle each other, how we conduct ourselves around other humans. And that's all life is. You come out of, you're born, you come out into the world, and now it's time to live amongst other humans that did the same thing. And then you do great at it, you don't do good at it, you do a mixture of the two, it goes whatever way it goes, you pass. Hopefully before you pass, you create somebody else to do the same thing you did, hopefully better. That's an oversimplified version of life. But what we're talking about today is you're reaching out to people, reaching out to people around you, and kind of putting positivity on them. So one of the things that, like I said, I've been talking about on a couple of videos is that. So this is something that I've learned as a man. So just sitting at this celebration of life, I was able to kind of look and see, these people, everybody here. Some people I knew, some people I didn't know, right? But most of them I didn't know. But these people here, this child has touched their life directly or indirectly. Specifically is what he said, and he's right. He said that when he was giving speech at the, at the celebration, and it's 100% true. That he made a comment and he said that room is filled with all these people. He said I could probably fill that room now. Essentially, basically, is what he said is I can probably fill this room now, but he's in his late 30s. He couldn't do that. I mean, a lot of us couldn't do that. Imagine doing that at 5 years old, So from that lesson, it really strengthened my belief in, as a man, as anybody, right? As man or woman, but as a man, I speak directly to men with this. What can you do positively for the people that are around you? What can you do? What can you do for the people? What kind of life can you breathe into the people around you? To me personally, that's my focus. I know there's some people you meet that don't seem like they need it. Cool, whatever. They probably do. I like to talk to people and see they'll reveal kind of where they're weak at, right? And it's not your job to be a know-it-all, but just give them ideas. Like I have friends with businesses and ideas. I will give them as many ideas I got off the top of my head. The reason I do that isn't because they're going to take the idea. They might, whatever, that's great too. But I'm doing it and a lot of times I don't even know about that industry, but what I'm doing is I want them to get excited about it. And a lot of my friends that did start businesses that talk to me about it, they would get, a lot of people, they get really excited about it and they go, I like that, because it gives a person, it makes a person realize their purpose. And your purpose is one of the single most important things in life. Is purpose. Your purpose is the reason why you walk right foot then left foot, as opposed to left foot then right foot. So that's one. And that's one side of it. And now to the fathers out there. When this, like I speak usually directly to black fathers, but we're talking about fathers. A father is a father, no matter what, color, shape, size, whatever, it doesn't matter. A father is a father. That's specifically raising a young boy, because right now we're loosely discussing a young boy, right? There's lots of different things I could bring up that I heard specifically about his son's personality and things like that. Again, that's their business. But what I will say is a big thing that one of the biggest things I took out of that, and I'm going to try to quote this the best way I can. A word might be flip-flop. Maybe I put in a word to make it easier, but this is the point of it. He mentioned that he mentioned that his son would jump off of couches and different things. Not anything where it wasn't safe to do, just jumping off couches in a chair or whatever, right? And, things that young 5-year-old boys do. And people would tell him, would tell the little boy, hey, don't do that, right? And his father would say, my friend, his father would say, no, he could do that. And he told him to keep jumping. And the specific reason, and pay close attention to this, the real reason why he told his son to keep jumping isn't because he don't need to listen to anybody, but he told his son keep jumping because he wanted him to be fearless. Fearless. And that right there stuck with me for sure. As a young man growing up, you idolize people that consider themselves fearless, right? Your superheroes. You might have a father, uncle, grandpa, whatever, right? And they seem to be fearless, maybe. I don't know, right? But the reason why that was so important is because, and this is speaking to men, and this is speaking to men directly, but I'm a black man, and this is my friend as a black man, this child is black, right? It's very important that's a very important trait. And the reason why that's a very important trait, I'm not very religious, but he is teaching his son to be fearless in his walk with God, right? Important. Fearless and being proud of who he is. Fearless in his endeavors. Teaching your son to be fearless, it can mean the difference between him taking the job that could be his big break, going to college, asking that person out that may or may not end up being his significant other, right? Meaning you might get married, right? It could be the key to happiness, potentially, for that child. A fearless man is a man that walks into a room and that's now his room, and usually you have to learn that trait. But if you're fearless from the beginning, it's an amazing thing to teach. For me growing up, I was not fearless. The aggression that I had took me on a downward spiral into things that I shouldn't have been in. As well as everybody else around me. It took them in a downward spiral into things they shouldn't have been in. Some of them are still paying for it. I'm lucky enough to have, God put me in a better path. It was what it was. That just must not have been the path for me. But I wanted to throw that out there to the fathers that are raising a son and let them know, hey, this is the reality of this, man. This is, you have to be intentional with the things be very intentional with the things that you teach your son. And they don't have to be what I just said, but just whatever is that's my friend, that's my close friend. Some of our values are going to be different. Some of our lessons were different, right? You have different backgrounds, I think that we value majority of the same things, right? But there are some things that will be a little bit different. We're two different people, you know what I mean? But for you, I'm talking to you as a father, it's time to be very intentional when raising your sons, and be very intentional when you're raising your kids in general. Think about what certain things teach them, because here's the reality. I'm getting ready to drive home from work. I'm tired. All right. And I might not have exactly the same amount of energy that I want, or exactly the amount of energy that I need to chase a 4-year-old boy around the house. I might not. But it's important to be very intentional with the type of things that I teach them. You can still do that and be tired. You can still do that and be burnt out. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. I'm not going to get too much into what you need to be doing as a father, because I don't know you, and I'm a first-time father. I got 4 years under my belt, so I can't write a book. Ain't no books, no nothing like that, but I will tell you this, being intentional with how you raise your kids, I don't know if you'll be hard pressed to find a parent that would tell you something different. If you say that, they'd probably agree. You know, to what degree you can be, you know, as intentional as you want to be, I don't know, right? But be intentional. Think about the things you want to teach your son. When my son walks up to a door and there's a woman there, I have him grab the door I grab the door, and we pull the door open and the lady walks through. And what I'm teaching him from 4 years old is chivalry. But the bigger lesson is to be able to do something for somebody else and not expect anything in return. A lot of people open doors and they're waiting for a thank you. You don't need a thank you. You don't need a thank you. You're doing it for a thank you? You don't need a thank you. Everything you do is for a thank you. I'm gonna challenge that with, what are you really doing it for? What is your purpose? If your purpose is not to reach out and touch the people around you, you know, touch the hearts of the people around you. And I'm not telling you need to walk around here and play God. What I'm telling you is, think about the people that are around you, and think about how you can be of use in a positive, you know what I'm saying? Speak life into certain things. Hey, what you got going on? Oh, man, I got buddies that call me and ask me how's my mental health, right? That's a good example. That's a good example, because they could be calling me to tell me, hey, I'm getting ready to fight so-and-so, pull up on me, right? That's just what it is. A lot of us ain't far from that, you know? So I'm not going to say I'm begging you guys, but I would really hope, obviously, do not take your children for granted, obviously, right? That goes without saying. But what I'm telling you is that leading, like being purposeful with things and thinking about how you affect the people around you is key. When you go on to meet them, when you go off to glory, they say, or when you go to the upper room, I can't say the actual word on YouTube, but when when you're no longer here, how do you want your funeral to be, to have 7 people in it? What do you want them to say about you when they get up to the podium? What do you want them to say about you? I want people to say, this person taught me this. I learned this from somebody. I learned this from that person. This person made me see this. This person's the reason I'm this. And not because I want to feel important. It's because it's like I just did something good. You know what I'm saying? I just did something, and it's not just I gave a homeless guy a cheeseburger. It's like, imagine you give a homeless guy something that sparks the thought in his mind that he can do something and it will make him money, and it slowly progresses into him not being homeless. That's what I'm talking about, and I understand that that's rare, but I also understand that you have breath in your lungs, and you have a spirit in your body, and you have time. Time is the most important thing in the world. I can tell you that now, but it's only important because of what you do with your time. Time's not important if you don't use it. Word. But I'm gonna holler at you, man.